Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wuxi, China, the final day of coverage on the final event of the 2024 ISU Junior Grand Prix Series. I'm Ted Barton. Mark Hanratty will be joining us from his home studio in Nottingham. Well, the first event of the day is the free dance. And after the rhythm dance, Ileana and Ethan Peel from the United States hold a 5-point lead over Chloe Nguyen and Brendan Jiang of Canada. They're well positioned to qualify for the Junior Grand Prix final in Grenoble. Right behind them is Giancini and Klapperman of France have a very slim 0.2 of a lead over Kishimoto and Tamura of Japan for a podium position. 18 teams from 13 nations. The free dance starts right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands up in the air! 一起来，对主持人，继续保持住。
Let's welcome the skaters.
中华台北组合
From Chinese Taipei.
甄晨宇、黄玉芝。澳大利亚组合
From Australia, Renee Yoon and Oliver Ma.
哈萨克斯坦组合
From Kazakhstan, Eva Shanaeva and Ivan Solovyev. ladies, your 5-minute warm-up begins now.
Welcome everyone to the final day of the 2024 ISU Junior Grand Prix Series in Wuxi, China. I'm Ted Barton along with Mark Hanratty. He's joining us from his studio in Nottingham, and this is it. It's been a long 7 weeks, but it seems like it went so quickly, Mark.
Yeah, I can't quite believe today's the final day of the season, and it was interesting just here up. I could just about hear in the production room the Wieland asking everybody if they were happy to have the final day, because so many of the team have been away from home for the entirety of the 7 weeks. And I just about hear them saying, oh well, yeah, it'd be nice to go home, but we're not necessarily eager for this to finish. So that's testament to the good camaraderie between the team.
No, for sure. You get back home and you're excited to be home, and you settle into that, and then it's a few short weeks. You go, well, I kind of miss it. So it's a great addition. We are all very, very lucky and privileged and honored to be able to be part of bringing something like this to the viewers around the world, and to creating, I think more importantly, to creating an environment in which these young people will never forget in their lifetime. We saw that with Ilya Melinin talking about his junior experience and how important it was for the development of his core personality, of who he is as a person, to learn to slow down and go, I need to be patient and learn through the difficult days. Those are the days that pay me the most for my future. And he was beautiful and articulate in that description. And I think what we do here, or what all the people do here, there's so many people involved in this, is make this environment possible for these young people to discover who they are and to have the bad days safely and to celebrate on the good days. So, thank you to all the people. We'll do a special thank you tribute a little bit later, just prior to the final two groups of women right here live inside the building, Mark. So it's pretty special. I have always been honored, and I'm sure you are as well.
Completely. And I think as we look at the skaters warming up now, if I consider so many of the teenagers around the globe, me in the UK, mindful of what happens in some of the schools, that all of these teenagers are doing something so incredibly special, unique and difficult just now. You're under the pressure of performance representing your nation, and I think that, as you say, to honour and celebrate that bravery and that dedication. And I feel maybe, Ted, that what the skaters are pushing themselves to do in today's current society is even more admirable when many are having quick fix, or skaters or young people are on their screens and lost in social media. The skaters right now are pursuing a goal, keeping fit and representing the nation. It's so incredibly admirable what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's such an interesting time of their lives, and you never know. And when you look back at when you were young, or when I was young, you never knew what you were going through and what impact it would have later on in life. And the Junior Grand Prix, I know we sort of beat it to death, but it's such an important learning ground. And we're very privileged to do this, and we thank the ISU for their support in making this happen, that's for sure. So here we are, final day, the free dance coming up, and then we have the women's free program. And boy, I was watching the last group of women. It's incredible. Two Japanese, two Chinese skaters, Korean as well. But they're all so incredibly good. And not just that last group, it's really about 10 to 12 skaters that are at the highest level. It's very exciting for the future of our sport as we look towards the Olympic Games coming up in Milan, and of course further past that as well.
And as we just consider then the implications of what's happening for the sport, and then the standings in this season's Junior Grand Prix in regards to the Maria Italiano La Fornara, the Italian team who won in the first and third stops in the Junior Grand Prix. They lead the field. Just wondering, as we move through this event, what consequences will take place in regards to who, if any of these, will qualify. Eliana and Ethan Peel in this event, I think they're likely to snare one of the top coveted 6 spots.
Yeah, I would say, you know, with the 5-point lead here, I don't know that I've ever seen a 5-point lead lost in ice dance, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but, you know, you'd have to make a lot of falls to make that happen, but we'll see. It is always unpredictable. Those are slippery knives on the bottom of those boots, and you never know what can happen. Okay, here we go. The beginning of the final day of Junior Grand Prix 2024. Free dance. And let's get started. Take it away, Mark.
Love the camera angle here, just getting an insight into the final parting words of wisdom from the coach as the first team take to the ice. Chen Yu-chan and Yu-chan Huang, 16 and 20 years old respectively. And they will skate to Say Something and Divineer by Ludovico Einaudi.
Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'll be the one if you want me to. Anywhere I would have followed you. Say something, I'm giving up on you. And I'm feeling so small. It was over my head. I know nothing at all. And I will stumble and fall. I'm still waiting for love, just starting to crawl. Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you. And anywhere I followed you. Say something, I'm giving up on you. Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Well, the final free dance and the International Skating Union Junior Grand Prix is underway thanks to Chen Yu-chan and Yu-chan Huang, a team in early development but cleanly and safely through And this smile on Chen Yu Chan's face suggests that that was as good as it could get for this team, and no better. That's everything that we want for all of the skaters competing in this event, to be satisfied leaving the ice with what they have output.
Yeah, they are at the very early stages of development as individual skaters, let alone the ice dance team. So that's going to take some time to build and get comfortable with the soft knees and the deep edges and the speed, of course, across ice. You can see it relatively slow at this stage, but there was a nice work coming out of that 1 foot, and that is in a level 1 for both partners on that element.
And here, as we see some of the step sequence, just having to work through the different holds, the waltz hold, then the foxtrot hold, the different holds necessary within a diagonal step sequence. As we look at the twizzles, see the constantly moving arm movements as a feature. And I think what's great about this team, although obviously it's still very early developmentally, is the fact that they're so they found one another, and they found a skating nation to represent with opportunity to be here at the Junior Grand Prix. And although, right now the scores aren't going to be massive comparative to other skaters, this experience, seeing as they do their choreographic step sequence what is to come in the event, see the likes of the Peels who are later to skate, will give them motivation, I'm sure, to do greater posture, greater commitment to bigger positioning within the context of their own skating. And Chelsea Liu joins them in the kiss and cry. Interesting, they've got a great coaching staff. Chelsea Liu, Christine Fowler-Binder, Yura Min, ice dancer from Korea, so a whole lot of great influences that will serve them. And the thing that we talk about, Ted, and I think is so pertinent, is the coaches that they have, great coaches who have experienced international competition, who are mindful of what is necessary. But it's now this experience where it's cement the coaches have already told them.
Yeah, 43.73 for the free dance for Chen Yu, and Yu Chan 68.97 for total competition score. They are the first team out in this event. And now this will help them decide. It'll help them to decide how much more do we want to do we need to do, and start to plan their improvement for the rest of the year.
As we look ahead, a team in their second Junior Grand Prix season, Renee Yuen and Oliver Ma from Australia. And this team will skate to Wicked Game and running up that hill. Renee Ewan and Oliver Ma from Australia complete their free dance. And this year's free dance, much more intense and passionate in the music choice than it was last year. The coaching staff choosing to push this team with different emotional expressions season upon season, and indeed this team had said that they wish to be formidable contenders within the next 4 years and develop their skills greatly. And as the Australian flag is proudly waved in the audience, it's good to know that there's a plan and there's a desire to be increasingly competitively successful for Australian ice dance.
And when you see a team like this, Mark, if you were coaching, or what would you suggest? What is the focus coming back from competitions like this? What do you focus on? What do you concentrate on in basic skating and skill, ice dance skill development?
Well, the challenge is that at this point in the season is how much time can be spent on basic development, because obviously if there are events coming up, then they need to make sure that they're working their run-throughs to ensure still fitness as we see them work through the step sequence. Ideally though, this team, great difficult entry into the curve, to the combination lift, good positioning. So in terms of levels with the lifts here, all good. They're up at, I assume as a check, level 4 for both. So then it becomes much more about creative execution, and so much more then about the fundamental way in which they hold their bodies as ice dancers. So here we see the twizzles, and these coming in at a level 3, so not too bad in terms of technical level, but the way in which they hold their bodies, the commitment to the alignment of their body, that will be so imperative as we look towards later groups where the posture will be better, the shoulder blades will be pulled back more, the headline elevated, the extensions of the free leg more committed. So it's not what they are doing but how they are doing it. And if they're really concise in their training, they can look at all the positive features that the judges have to ensure that they come back to the next event, not just with high levels, but then with a better grade of execution. If we look at the last element we just saw, the cardio step, it still has a negative grade of execution, that we were looking to turn that into positive.
And how many hours a week or per day do you feel necessary to build all those skills? Okay, we can talk about that a little bit further, but it's interesting for the folks to understand how it gets built. Let's take a look at the scores. 53.22, that is first. They're the second team out so far in the event, with a total competition score of 86.07, and that put Renee and Oliver currently into first place, with a number of teams yet to come. I know that the coach Monica was so proud of them because they're only getting like 2 hours a week at this time, and they're having to travel to get that, and so it's been a bit of a challenge.
And we look ahead to the next team representing Kazakhstan, Eva Shalayeva and Ivan Solovyev. The last day of being a 14-year-old for Eva. As they skate to Diras, que estoy loco and Bésame mucho. Eva Shaleva and Ivan Solovyev, another team from memory performing to something very different to what we've seen from them last season, trying to widen and broaden the presentation and characterization on the ice as ice dancers. It's so important as ice dancers that they continue to hone and deliver better and greater, more obvious presentation.
Yeah, you can certainly see that the skating skills of this team were better than the first couple of teams. As we move along the results list, the start order of this event starts from the team that was last to the competition and then second last, and it goes along the line there, and you can see it slowly get stronger as the teams move along through the start order. So, you know, not bad, good energy through this program, better skating skills, but still a long ways to go.
Yeah, and as we look at the Twizzles that opened the program, this coming in at level 4 for both, so that unlike the teams that we have seen thus far, and actually previously with the previous team I was discussing the need to work on the aesthetic and the body alignment, this team, particularly Ava, really good body alignment, always a pointed toe, always a good neck alignment. This team probably will be looking to increase their ice coverage so that their strokes elongate and lengthen as we see the straight line lifts, the difficult position for Ava, the split, and the spread eagle for Ivan, and then the one for exit. This, the choreo step sequence, so this, the opportunity for the skaters to really embrace and showcase their understanding of the musicality and stylization. And they're choosing to do a choreographic lift, so 2 choreographic elements for the junior ice dancers, and they can pick from 7 different types of choreo elements to the step sequence and the choreo lift, the choice for Eva and Ivan.
And on the next warm-up, we'll go through that a little bit more. So there's sort of a list of elements that they can do, but they don't have any value, any core value to it. It's just a GOE element, which sort gets graded or scored based on the quality of the execution, not on the difficulty of that element for the choreographic list. So, but we'll talk a little bit more about that, Mark.
Yeah, and as we progress through the event, we're mindful to see who's pushing to get those maximum +5 grades of execution, which would be a real coup. And these are the kind of things that we talk about when the skaters will be looking at the feedback from the panel after the event. So for Eva and Ivan, following this, they'll be able to scrutinize and see, well, what grades of execution were we receiving, and it is a kind of badge of honor for the skaters. Oh, did I get any +3s today, or were my components pushing for, you know, 5s in the components? This team, their components currently in the mid-4s. I think that they're definitely capable of turning that into 5s before the end of this season. Just the desire to keep pushing every stroke to increase the speed and the ice coverage, so it's easy for the judges to put them in that 5 range.
Well, let's take a look at the scores for their free dance. And their 61.03 is their personal best. 59.85 is their season's best. They should beat that here right now with the score. It was a much better program, I believe. And yeah, it's a season's best at 64.78. And that will put this team currently into first. I'm not sure they look overjoyed, but it is certainly an improvement with a 103.62 for Eva and Ivan. And that puts them into first place overall, at least for the moment. And by a significant lead. You can clearly see the difference in the qualities of the teams.
And that flag on screen, it represents the next team, Madeline Embro and Namu Lee. And this team really keen to push technical element score to achieve junior world minimums as they make their way to the start position for their free dance, skating to next to me and selections from Imagine Dragons.
Something about the way that you walked into my living room, casually and confident, looking at the mess I am, but still you want me. Stress lines and cigarettes, politics and deficits, late bills and orphanages, screaming out and hollering, and still you want me. always let you down. You shattered on the ground, still I found you there next to me. And stupid things I do, I'm far from good, it's true, but still I find you next to me.
Madeline Anbro and Namu Lee share a hug as they complete their free dance. And just looking now back at the performance that they had in Bangkok, Thailand, and comparing the technical score, and it looks like this a stronger performance from the technical score perspective for Madeline and Namu. And as would be expected, that with more run-throughs, that the performance from the program component score is stronger too. So hopefully the team edging closer to the scores that they desire this season.
Yeah, a little bit better ice coverage there. And of course, I think in the rotational, of speaking with Aaron a little earlier today, he was a little short on rotations in the rhythm dance, and that was costly. And then kind of a mistake that you shouldn't make, right? But he was better. And this one a little wobbly on the rotational, but the rest of the program was much stronger.
It's interesting because I noticed yesterday in the PDF that level 2 rotational, if why'd that happen? And then you acknowledged that the coach was saying not sufficient rotation achieved. As we look through the step sequence there, an inside rocker from Madeline, pushing the difficult back inside counter. Well done there by Namu, trying to ensure that the turns are as clean as is possible. This was good. Straight line left that Namu was on point to ensure that the dress didn't become a malfunction, and he preserved his partner's dress, because that could have been a rip, and that was very conscientious of him. As we see the synchronized twizzles, arms clasped and extended in front on the right, forward, outside, that a feature, and there the Group C feature, the third twizzle. And here, as is likely to be the case for most of the teams, choosing to do the step sequence as one of the two choreographic elements. So all of the choreographic elements chosen in the juniors and seniors will have a base value of 1.1 points, but it will be, as you said, Ted, the grade of execution which defines how much more the skaters can achieve on that element. And for this team, they added almost a point to that score based on the quality of it.
Yeah, is it fair to say that the choreographic step sequence is the most popular because it's more dancey, if you will, and it is coming right at the judges. It's more dramatic. They have more room, if you will, to work to impact the overall performance.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 different types of choreographic element, but the step sequence is the one chosen. I think partly because it's the most fun for the skaters to choreograph and have.
Yeah.
I think it's perhaps also the least physical insofar as you'd have to push to cover lots of ice because you're limited to using the short axis of the rink. And I think the choreographic step sequence doubles up. It's an element, so you're pushing your grade of execution, but it also offers the opportunity to try to push the component scores up because there's so much more scope for musicality within it. So I think those are the reasons that the skaters most often use it. But I think it's fun to do.
But also because you don't have as much distance to travel here, do you feel that the skating skills themselves, because you're not really doing a lot of skating, you're doing more dancing with a little bit of movement, how does that factor in?
That's such a really good point, Ted, is that element doesn't lend itself to high skating skills, but does give for the 2 other components. So,
well, 71 points. That's the season's best for Madeline and Namu, and that will put them in the first place with the free dance with 113.33 points for the competition. They'll take over the lead after the first group, and that was better than the rhythm dance. You can see a good 10-point lead there. Still lots of room for improvement as they continue on their journey. And this is, relatively new team for this year. And here we go. Step aside as you get introduced to group number 2 here on the final day of coverage of the 2024 ISU Junior Grand Prix Series.
Let's welcome the skaters. From People's Republic of China. From Hong Kong, China. From Canada, Victoria Carondieu and Andre Carondieu. From People's Republic of China. Skaters, your 5-minute warm-up begins now.
And we're back with the warm-up for group number 2. There is the start order for this group. Mark, did we have any more questions come in from viewers around the world?
Yes, we did, and thank you to those that have sent in the questions, some really good ones. Just thinking, whilst we're in the ice dance competition, those that are most pertinent to the dance event, the question I'm going to start with comes from @minipanda2001. How are the component scores determined? Are there special criteria? And with that in mind, I'll bring up the criteria in question because there is very definite defined criteria regarding the program component scores, skating skills, the final one, presentation and composition. And all of the skaters across the different disciplines have the same criteria, and skating skills are determined by the ability of the skater to execute a skating repertoire of steps, turns and skating movements with blade and body control. Now, the criteria continues with more details. With presentation, the middle component score is determined by a demonstration of engagement, commitment and involvement of the skater based on understanding their music. And then the composition, which is to most of its best described as the choreography, is the skater's demonstration and intentional develop and an original arrangement of a repertoire of all types of movement into a meaningful whole according to principles of proportion, unity, space, pattern, and musical structure. So it's make of that what you well said.
So Mark, if I'm a non-skating person listening to that, you're going, that's a lot of words. What does it all mean?
Yes.
And I think that's the challenge. And I glad we sort of stumbled upon, or we didn't stumble upon it. The ISU asked us to do that at the basis of skating, and I think we hit some good things, and then we thought, we could do a better job in this and that, and hopefully more small bits of education can break that down to be understandable. So you've read off a lot of criteria for those three components, and we need to be able to simplify that for a viewer that doesn't know much about the sport. It's never been in an ice rink, or you're going, okay, what am I looking for here? How can I recognize what good skating skills are? And I've never skated in my life. How can I see the difference, right? And how can I see the difference in composition? And I've never seen a program. I've never developed a program. So it's one of the interesting things that we've been reaching out to the audience and asking, hey, what are the ideas that the ISU can implement in order to help you as a viewer enjoy the competition and understand it more? And some information's come back, and I think that we're starting to discover, yes, it's complicated as a whole entity, but we understand it because we understand the small entities, and we're not communicating those small entities in a simplistic way for the audience to say, oh, I get it. I think I can see that here. And so that's a lot of words for a person who's going, yeah, it's a different language for me. So interesting enough, and thank you for going through that, because I think it's important for people to hear. And of course, the people that know the sport quite well will go, oh yeah, I get that. But the ones that don't, it just makes me think and consider, how can we define this a little bit better in a simpler terms for clarity and for enjoyment for the audience. Okay, I just said a bunch of words too, and I should be quiet. Right? I probably confused people.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head insofar as all those words to a non-skater, because for the coaches, for maybe the senior skaters particularly, they'll have seen the communications with this criteria. They will know the words that maybe verbatim can read the words like I just did. What was interesting is when we did our Basics of Figure Skating series, we touched upon some of the scoring, and I noticed that a lot of the skaters were coming back saying, oh, we want to know more about these program component scores, and that's confirmed by the question that's come in today. I think a lot of people are interested in the program component scores because that's perceived to be a little bit more subjective perhaps, but with I suppose that's one thing where I do feel like, as a commentator of the sport, I have tried to really research and delve deep in trying to better comprehend the judging criteria for the components, and so hopefully there will be opportunity for us to take a look at words and hone it, streamline it. And
you do articulate that very well according to the rules. What we need to do is show the visuals so people understand what the words actually mean, because we're asking them to understand those words and then find them in a performance of these teams. Like you did some examples, right? Good and bad ones. You always had nice pointy toes and whatnot, but that was pretty clear, pretty simple, but pretty clear. And so, yeah, it just makes me think that I think we can do a lot more in helping fans dive a little bit deeper into dance, but not, but yet still enjoy it and not get consumed with, all this too much of the detail. Okay, here we go. Group number 2 in the ice dance, free dance day, the final day of competition on the Junior Grand Prix.
And opening this group, Zinai Ding and Han Chong Zheng from the home nation. They will skate Tales from the Loop soundtrack.
I wanted you, and I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you. I wanted you, and I was looking for you all day. But I couldn't find you. couldn't find you.
Zanai Ding and Han Chong Zheng showcasing such maturity and refinement in the closing section of that free dance. I adore the hand movement, and as we were talking off air, we're just acknowledging that this team, to my mind, has a very clear ice dance education, and they come from a skating nation which has excelled in pair skating and in single skating, if we think of their greatest successes, and yet this team looked to have been educated well as ice dancers with the way in which they skate. The ice dance technique, the stylization is evidently ice dance.
I loved their patience, because they clearly had a design of choreography, and they didn't. Some people, they get the choreography, they're okay, that's what the choreographer wants me to do, but they actually understand how much the choreographer wants me to do that. Love it. They were patient with the phrasing of the music to make the phrasing of the choreography work with it, and they were quite clear on the form in which they were to take in the choreography. I thought it was lovely. Look at that beautiful opening. Yeah.
Gorgeous. And interesting, because I was mentioning about how many events domestically happen in China, and their score in the rhythm dance yesterday here was lower than that at which they'd had domestically, but I think this free dance is going to be higher than anything they've had at home, so that is testament to the judges recognise what we saw too, that there was class.
Well, that's good. It's good that we're in line with the judges finally, but it's not because of them. They know what they're doing. We don't. Well, you do, but I don't.
Yeah. And here, just seeing the way in which the skaters hold their bodies, so just looking at the lower back and their tummy muscles, just seeing how engaged those are in regards to body control, and so much body control required for that right forward outside twizzle with the catch of the blade. And here, changing pose, creating two clear pictures within a straight line lift, and great extension through the ankles and through the feet from Janai. And here the 1 foot turns there, the back it, changing edge, working a forward inside twizzle, just slightly out of sync still. Of course, at this relatively early stage in the competition, more time needed to really push. That's such a difficult use of hold and positioning. I was really impressed by the difficulty and complexity of that transition within the choreo step sequence. But this is my favorite part.
Yeah, mine too. Their elegance is equal. he's as elegant as she is, and that really makes the team that much stronger. And that's not always the case. One might be a little bit stronger than the other, but they seem quite equal with their abilities, both in skating and choreography. Let's take a look at the free dance scores. 75.84. That is first with the free dance, I think by quite a bit. And here's a look at the total competition score of 120.52, and that will put them, at least for the moment, into first place overall. And there it is. You can see a 7-point difference. That was lovely, and that's another indication of how well this young group of Chinese skaters in women, in men, in dance are coming along. Like, we're going to see a lot over the next couple of years in juniors. Go ahead, Mark.
As we look ahead to Han Kang and Han Wancha, a team that were 13th in their first junior Grand Prix of the season in Bangkok, and they come into the free dance in the same place, and they skate to Young and Beautiful by Lana Del Rey.
Daisy Buchanan, the golden girl, a breathless warmth flowed from her, a promise that there was no one else in the world she so wanted to see. I rang, I wrote, I implored. Not a single one of the sparkling hundreds that enjoyed his hospitality. And from Daisy, not even a flower. Sunrise.
Han Kang and Han Wan Chao closing with a choreographic characteristic sequence in their free dance, and been acknowledging within these choreographic elements how they offer opportunity to push the component scores and the storytelling between the team as they made their way to the judges, and she pushed him away, really finishing in the judges' minds, I'm sure, a boost in the composition as they commit to the storytelling of their free dance performance.
Yeah, they were really working at the drama a little bit of the program. That's one of the great things that ice dance brings. I'll title it as entertainment, whether it is dramatic or whether it is dancey-like or whether it is with a sense of humor, whatever it is, it's entertainment.
And as we look at the straight line lift leading into a combination, so electing to do a straight line and into rotational lift, which comes in unsurprising at level 4 for both parts, and then to the twizzles, choosing to connect between first and second. I think there's a little bit of a check rotation here for Ran Kang. Love the slide, and such good use of body and neckline from Ran Kang from the split to the knee slide. And this team, interestingly, has Zhang Wei as part of their coaching staff, the same coach as Junai Deng and Han Chongzheng from China, who are leading the field at this stage. So a shout out to the coach pushing ice dance in this part of the world, as we see, as I suggested, the storytelling commitment to the end of the program for Ran and Han Wan.
Well, 67.39 is their season and personal best. We'll see how close they come to that. 67.39. That would be nice to finish the Junior Grand Prix with a new season's best. And, most of these athletes now enter into their domestic competitive season where they'll be perhaps do a number of regional events leading up to the national championships. Many have the nationals in December before Christmas. Some have them in January in North America. Both the Americans and the Canadians have their national championships in January, about 2 weeks or 3 weeks away from the Four Continents Championships. Sometimes those competitions run up against the same weekend as the Europeans. So lots happening. As we enter into the Senior Grand Prix season, domestic competition, then the ISU Championships. 68.66, it's a new season's best for Ran and Han Wan, and that'll put them currently into third place with a 115.66 total competition score. That'll move them into second overall, at least for the moment. And there is a look at your top 5 teams so far.
Representing Canada, Victoria Karani.
And now to the Canadian siblings, Victoria and Andre Karandiuk. A team that told me how much gratitude they have to their parents for all that they sacrificed to allow them to compete internationally. This, their first international of the season, as they skate to Remember by Josh Groban.
as long as you hold me in your memory. I am the one star that keeps burning so brightly. It's the last light to fade into the rising sun. And with you, whatever you tell, my story for never I'll never leave you if you will only remember me.
Victoria and Andrei Karandiuk, such a passionate, powerful piece of music, and that finished position, I thought, with incredible commitment at the end, difficult position to finish a program with, and such as as was the curve lift, I think, such a faith between the sibling pairings, because there were moments when I thought they were dicing with, really risky movement. The finish position, the commitment to that, you have to be so in sync with your partner to give extra energy in a difficult finish position and not pull them off their balance point. So obviously well honed together as a team, and indeed that's what they explained. I think I mentioned in the rhythm dance that they explained that as siblings, they've said they're not separating and they won't stop till they get their goals, and that must create a platform and a foundation of such wonderful trust between them.
Absolutely. I mean, what a strong statement that is, as we see the opening moves here.
Good use of hold. And this was brilliant. I thought the extension of that fingers and the change in the arms, a feature, but it was on point with the music. With each movement change, there was an articulation in the music as well, which should boost the great execution. And here the stationary lift and this twizzle, all part of the difficult exit per level. There's the rocker, a back 3 turn. That's not a difficult turn, but it leads into that bracket turn, part of the 1 foot, changing edge into a back inside counter. You can see many of the turns in the 1 foot sequence will be performed on inside edge. Inside edge, I think, generally considered to be easier to achieve the level called by the tech panel as we see the dance spin.
Ask you a question on the 1 foot. How important is keeping the speed and the flow through that whole 1 foot section?
Well, it's a bit like we were talking about with the choreographic step sequence. The element itself, as we see as choreographic lift, that has a level, and the skaters are vying to try to get a higher level, but they must not lose sight of the impact that those elements have on the skating skills and the speed, especially perhaps in juniors. The speed for skating skills I dare say, more important than the level itself, because we can have teams that might secure a higher level, but then in doing so, if they're going really slow, it's got such a bigger impact on the program component scores. And you see that brilliant backbend from Victoria at the end of the program as Pascal Denis joins them.
Well, they look pretty happy with that performance in the kiss and cry. Let's take a look at the scores. Now, 72.67 is their personal best score, and they might just top that here with this performance. This is their only Junior Grand Prix, so they don't have a season's best. This is a 74.36, and that is 2 points higher than their personal best score overall, and would have earned that last year. 121.47 for Victoria and Andre, and that'll put them currently into first place overall. And there is a look at the top 5 teams so far in this event. And one more to come in group number 2. Yeah, next generation, watching skating, getting motivated. Here we go.
How wonderful. And the next team, Shanji Yin and Shuri Yang, have been part of the opening video promoting this event, and how wonderful for them to be almost like the poster skaters for this fantastic Junior Grand Prix in Wuxi. And Shanji and Shuri will skate to Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. Shanji Yun and Shuri Yang showcasing such dynamic drama at the end of their free dance, and just there seeing Shuri has got a little bit of a cut, not sure where that is from, but again Ted, Wei Zhang and Fang Yang, the coaching staff for another team in this event, and they're doing such a brilliant job in honing good quality skating skills and well packaged, well framed choreography.
I notice a difference, not only in the ice dance in these young Chinese skaters. I notice a difference in the packaging, the design of the program and the music and the choreography with the stage of development that these teams are at, and they're pushing the limits a little bit more. There's a movement happening here in this country with the young skaters. I don't know really what's happening. The seniors, we'll see that as we cover some of the senior Grand Prix, of course, but this is really coming together for China on the Junior Grand Prix. We missed them for a number of years since COVID. We really haven't seen many of them, so we really didn't know what was happening. Now it's unveiled. Now we see this, and I expect them to be challenging in all disciplines over the next couple of years on the Junior Grand Prix circuit, which is only going to evolve into the seniors.
And for me as an ice dancer, it's interesting to think how World Chinese ice dance progresses. Not ISU Championship medal worthy previously over the past few decades, that their greatest success has been in singles and pairs. What will happen within the Chinese ice dance community as we look at the synchronized twizzles? An interesting choice of pattern, good way to surreptitiously kill the speed a little bit before the more difficult second twizzle, making it look choreographic, but I think there's a design in that composition there as we look at the rotational lift. Little slip on the difficult entry, so not the greatest ice coverage and speed there, so GOE for that is in the minuses as we look at the 1 foot turns.
And I don't want to say that what we're seeing is incredible, unbelievable, unbeatable stuff. What I'm saying is that the work of the federation and the coaches is good, strong skating skills, appropriate choreography to the level of development. You can see a design and a strategy here.
Yeah, and as we look at this choreographic character step sequence, the way in which Shanji and Shure approached the judging panel, they did it with confidence and conviction. We've seen, as I touched on, the fact that they are the poster child as we see this choreographic slide movement to close out the program. They've been given the opportunity to be part of the production. I almost sense that they're given the opportunity to believe in themselves and their future potential. Even the way in which they commit to this, I don't know, death at the end of the free dance, they do it with a conviction that suggests they know they're going places. It's cool.
You committed to, I don't know, death. You weren't sure which one it was.
Is that what it says?
No, that's pretty good. It's nice to see, and we've seen so many years of junior skating. It was so nice to see sort of a coordinated, strategic approach to the development of these skaters here in China, and that's only going to help the Junior Grand Prix. 75.58. That is, I think he's excited. That is second in the free dance, because probably a world qualifying score. I'm not sure. 123.61. That'll put them into first place after two groups. They're thrilled. And there you go. There's the scoreboard. Top 5 teams so far in the free dance here on the final day of coverage of the Junior Grand Prix Series 2024. Now, Mark, we're going to take a break during the ice resurfacing. We have some videos to play back. What's up on the list?
Well, a chance to listen to the winners interview from last week's event in Ljubljana. Arina Pergena and Artem Koval from Ukraine won. They're again competing this week. They're leading the field in the rhythm dance at the Budapest Trophy. A busy team. And then to the comeback story of Diana Strato-Dudek, the world pairs champion from Canada. And then finally, in this resurface break, the mic'd up series from last year with the charismatic and entertaining Valter Rizzo.
Yeah, I usually say, well, I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to say you will enjoy it, and we'll be back right after this.
Irina, Artem, your reaction at the end of the free dance was probably the happiest out of all the 21 teams. How do you feel after the free dance skate today?
We're feeling really good. We didn't expect it, but we came here with goals which we reached, and we're really happy.
Yeah, I feel myself amazing. It's the best our run through, and we're so happy about this. So.
I think you had a 7-point personal best, so a massive improvement. And now you've secured a spot at the Junior Grand Prix final. So how excited are you? Because this will be your first participation at Junior Grand Prix final. How excited?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just so excited, and we are really wanna enjoy the process for getting ready to these finals.
We're looking forward to seeing you compete. Any goals now for that, or have you even had time to think about what it would be like?
Yeah.
More points, more.
Like more points we need. We can do this. So yeah.
In 1 week, we got like for 7 or 10 points more. So
You've got 2 months, so can we add 70 points to the? And I'm sure you would just like to extend your thanks for all the support that you have from back home as well.
Yeah, we wanna say big thanks for the Austrian Federation who support us. We wanna say thank you for our coaches.
for Sasha Nazarov and Maxim Nikitin, for Galina, they're supporting us so much, and we love them so much for the work we've been done for 2 months after Junior Worlds, and it was really hard time for us, but we did
Can
it.
you hear me? Okay.
Huge congratulations again, and wish you all the very best for this.
Thank you so much.
Oh, why? There's no program. What happened? Oh, shit. You see back, right?
And the no card I happened to pick was, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And I just immediately blurted out, oh, I would win an Olympic gold medal.
Okay, I need to reboot. Yeah, I need to reboot. Just a second.
My name is Deanna Stellato-Dudek, and I am a pair skater for Canada.
The reason Diana is so special is actually her fire, her dedication, and for her, it's Olympic every day.
I think what attracted me to figure skating in the first place was the freedom that you feel when you have the wind in your face and you're skating around the rink, and also the artistic expression, what you can do with your arms and feet while you're gliding. It's difficult to describe. It's unlike any other feeling that you can get in shoes.
Deanna Stellato. She is 16 years old and perhaps the most focused of all the skaters here, the last one off the practice ice.
When I was 17 years old, I sustained a hip injury that was very common at the time. It eventually ended my childhood career, my 1.0 career.
She retired and then never come back in skating for 16 years. She didn't think about skating.
I think retiring at 17 was very difficult. You're too young to really deal with the severeness of that decision and how it's going to affect your life. I had a normal job in the States. I worked for a plastic surgeon in a small private practice, and we were at a work retreat, and we were just doing a fun little exercise over lunch where we all picked up a note card and said, read the question out loud, and then everybody around the table would answer it. And the note card I happened to pick was, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And I just immediately blurted out, oh, I would win an Olympic gold medal. And then I kind of sat back in my chair and I was like, what? As everybody else was answering, I was like, what did I just say? I haven't skated in like 16 or 17 years. Like, that was a random answer. That was the catalyst that began this entire thing. So I guess I'm super lucky my mom kept those skates for all that time. I went for a first public sessions. I would get up at 4 in the morning to go skate in the morning before going to work my full-time job. And if I had a day at work that was like a 12-hour day and it was impossible for me to get on the ice, I would just make sure that evening I would do like a workout tape or I would stretch, but I would do something toward my dream every day, and I never broke the chain for 3 months.
Her dedication to the sport, to do what she do at the age she is unbelievable. She have to do so much more than other people to be able to do it. We train as much as the other younger skater, but on top of it, she have to do way more back home. She have to recover 2-3 hours a day so she can be ready for the next day. If not, it's not gonna happen. We knew the pressure will be super high being here at home where I'm born, where we train.
When I got on the ice, I just heard the roar of the crowd and like, okay, let's breathe, we can do this. That pressure is motivation and motivation is pressure, and it's a thin line that separates them. When we got out there, I just looked at him and I said, we got this.
The crowd was so supportive, and it's give myself and Diana goosebumps as we were skating. It was something we'll remember for the rest of our life.
Winning here in Montreal was our dream. For sure, this was our dream. I just got really emotional and said, well, I fought and I gave it everything I could. And kind of one of those fairy tale stories that it still hasn't sunk in that I'm living yet. All that hard work, all those late nights, early mornings, all that pain, man, was it worth it in the end. If you can set aside some time every day and just do a little bit, you can potentially create a life for yourself beyond your wildest dreams.
But where do you buy the shoes? The other one I like too. This one is too much to me.
Too much for you?
Yeah. È un ordine. Vieni su che stai con noi. Vieni, tranquillo. Sì, mi fa piacere, sì, sì, assolutamente sì. Per cui vai tranquillo come stamattina senza nessun problema. Mi fa, ma sei una superstar? Faccio, no, sono vecchio. Bend, ok, fast, and look crazy, dance. Okay, spend time to watch the judges on the ice. Bring them with you on the ice. Okay, make them dance. Okay, don't be boring. Okay, you are training to do this one, you go like this. Grazie. Bene così, capito? Tutto qua, è tutto qua, capito? Presente in ogni passo. Oh, devi essere showman.
Sì, sì, lo farò.
Capito? Stai con lei però. Stai con lei. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Come on! Meno 6 punti e vediamo quanto prendiamo. Con la caduta e tutto saranno 10.
Cioè il secondo e il terzo quanto siamo giocati?
No? Third place. It's ok. Gli devi dare il mio numero di telefono.
Let's welcome our next group of ice dancers. Representing France, Louis Dupont and People's Republic of China. Representing Italy, Vittoria Petrarchi and Daniel Basile. Representing Great Britain, Ashley Slatter and Adel Onge Perez. Representing Germany, Lilia Schubert and Nikita Kremashevsky. Skaters, your 5-minute warm-up begins now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Wuxi, China, the final day of competition, the 2024 Junior Grand Prix Series. I'm Ted Barton, Mark Hannity joining us from Nottingham. This is our final week, and Mark, we were talking just off air a little bit. You know, we've got another episode, if you will, installment on the basics of skating. We talk about the GOE, and I just saw it, and I thought, okay, that's pretty good. That's going to help people understand, you know, not the skating people, they already know, but, you know, a non-skating person understand a little bit more about what the grade of execution, the quality score, if you will, how that works. And you did demonstrations, some good and some intentionally bad, and it was kind of fun. It was really good, so look for that hopefully coming up next week. So we'll continue in that series. So we've got the 2 more groups coming up here, Mark, and what can we expect? How would the audience start to recognize, oh, okay, this is a different group, this is the 3rd group now, and now I can see what would they look for to see if these teams are, you know, I don't want to say significantly, but clearly, visually better than the teams that we've seen so far?
I think to really try to simplify what will differentiate the teams within this ice dance competition, and indeed any ice dance competition, would be the speed and the ice coverage. So on camera, if the spectators are not on site in arena, sometimes it can be a little harder to observe that, because obviously the camera will move and follow the skater. Sometimes you just have to take an acknowledgement of the skater in relation to the different boards and the different board signs to see how quickly they are making their way across the ice, and so that will be a huge factor in the skating skills component score, which I think is the hook for all the judges' components. And then also that increased speed projects greater confidence, and that will impact also the grades of execution as well. So here with the Italian team, they're working through step sequence. Also observe when their blades leave the ice, when they push with each stroke, they will have a longer distance between their blades, so chassis crossover. Each time that the foot leaves the ice, they contact the ice and grip longer on the pushes, which creates more speed. And this team here, as we're watching them now, they're going from barrier to barrier, showcasing full ice coverage, and that will in turn have an impact on both the grade of execution of that element, the step sequence, and also their skating skills.
Okay, good. And if we keep on hammering away at hopefully simplistic terms, then, you know, the audience will slowly start to understand, okay, now I see that, right? It is, it's innate in us because we've lived the sport. But for the audience, we're going to continue to work hard at trying to clarify some of these little details for your enjoyment, really, to understand, oh, I see, yeah, that team is better at that or whatever. So we'll just keep working on that throughout the season and hopefully into the next series.
And I think it gets a little bit different for the senior ice dance teams as we head towards the senior Grand Prix, because the skating skills are much more honed and refined. But we'll see a little bit more as we go through this event, because we'll see some more experienced team, like we just saw Ashley Slater and Adel Onge Perez, the British team who've been together for multiple seasons already. As we head towards the final team, Eliana and Ethan Peel, because they're an established team who have competed together for such a long time, then what we'll notice in them is more input into the choreography. Because their skating skills are honed and developed, then we start to see they have a foundation that's already secure, so they can put more into the arm movement, the head movement, the energy and commitment, and that's what we'll see perhaps a little bit as we progress through the event.
And for the Senior Grand Prix, that'll start next week. That's the first one is Skate America in Allen, Texas. I'll be covering that. Then the next 4, I think you are covering. Is that correct? We don't cover any of the seniors together, so it'll be independent. But go ahead.
Yes, I'm France, Finland, China, and the final. That's, but I don't know if it's necessarily in that order.
Okay, yeah, and we'll both be in Grenoble, and we're looking forward to that to work together and hopefully both the junior and senior and bring some that's just an exciting competition. It's short, it happens so quickly, and they're all so good. We're not really talking about a lot of different standards at that point. They're all one standard. They're all excellent, and it'll depend on what they do on that day. It could be one small little thing that could make the difference.
Yeah, and especially in the ice dance competition, of all the disciplines, the one least likely to showcase visible mistakes, and that's when we can really dive deep on the criteria as to how the judges will have to differentiate all the teams.
Exactly. As they clear the ice in group number 3, as we move along on the final day of competition on the Junior Grand Prix Series for this year. It's been fun. It's been some wonderful, wonderful young talent coming up. It's very bright future indeed. Okay, Mark, take it away. Let's get started.
So, to the team opening this group, the French team of Louise Duprat and Tadej Dug, a team that explained to me the difference between the free dance and the rhythm dance. This one focusing on flexibility, lightness, and unity, they say. And the music will be Smother by Daughter. Louise Duprat and Tahoe Tadede, the team from France that had explained to me that their programs were very different. I'm not sure if it's because the programs were different. I'm not sure if it's because the free dance is indeed by its nature more freeing and more open, or perhaps this was a program that was choreographed first. But this team to me looks so much stronger. They were good in the rhythm dance. This immeasurably stronger for this team, showcasing more flow, more glide. And I thoroughly enjoyed this performance. Even as we talk about the differentiation between the teams, we can see clearer conviction to extensions in some of the positions. And here storytelling within the first and second twizzle, maintaining speed and ice coverage between the first and the second, which is hard to do. Just a little lack of synchronicity. This was cool, the free foot in front on the Group C twizzle. That's difficult to do on the left back inside edge. Difficult entry into the curve lift with Dari in a good spread eagle position. And here, perhaps it's the freedom of the pattern in the free dance, but just showcasing so much more flow and glide. And that's the reason why the skating skills component for Louise and Tahari are pushing closer towards the sixes, whereas all the teams up to this stage in the competition have been in the fives. I thought this was brilliant. The speed of the changes of position, and here, great commitment to the expression at the end.
You know, I was wondering whether the emotional growth of each individual person, you know, how important that is to the music, because some people are more mature, younger, or whatever it is. So we see an 82.02 for Louise and Tahari. That is first in the free dance with the total competition score 133.59 as they take over the lead. And, you know, from a coaching perspective, the emotional development and the relationship on the ice of the two people, it gets really, I don't want to say complicated, interesting perhaps in a way, how to bring the best in a performance out. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Jinyi Yu and Chanyi Liu already storytelling again before their free dance to the familiar music of Nemesis by Benjamin Clementine.
Nemesis, our token. Turn around, my talk to your new home. When you're gonna die, please don't you ever forget.
Jenny, you and Tianyi, Liu, and you sense that Tianyi is offering some counsel and support to Jenny because of the mistake that took place within the twizzles, and I was referencing how ice dance rarely has such visible mistakes, and so for the ice dancers, something going wrong can be really damaging to the psyche and the morale of the skater, but it seems to be taken with some pragmatism by Jenny and still enjoying the moment.
You need to be able to count on your partner in regards to it's a team, and so a problem can happen to both at the same time, or to one individually, or to whatever. It is a team, and you've got to you start as a team, you end as a team, you perform as a team, and you've got to keep that, because if you don't have that, then you don't have the trust of the most important person on the ice, and that's your partner. So and then you clearly see that, you can see his support for her in that case. Let's take a look at some of the elements here, Mark.
And the polish and maturity in the opening of this program by Jenny and Tianyi really evident as we look at the dance spin, that the camel feature, she in a sit feature, and that a middle feature, so they get a level for the difficulty and complexity of the transition in between the first and the second part of the dance spin, and the difficult exit. So well, actually it's coming as a level 3 to open the program. And here we get a chance to just relive a little bit of the challenge in the second twizzle. How many rotations done before the break? So 1, 2, and then the opening up. So because only 2 twizzles done in that, 2 rotations done in that second twizzle, it can be at most a level 2. And here, whilst good quality skating skills, I think that we can see just a little bit less pressure on the pushing of each stroke than that of the French team who lead the field at the moment. So skating skills perhaps just a little bit lower.
It's a small detail. It will be hard for a person who doesn't know skating to be able to see that, because they'd say, well, they're both gliding across the ice. What's the problem, right? But
exactly,
it's that small detail, right? A rotational lift here. I think I was pushing the button too often here. I've got a lot of replays. Sorry. I'm holding up the competition.
It's so interesting to analyze, and as we talk about the differences in the different teams and what progression there is through the competition, you just get to see, as you're giving us all these wonderful replays, Ted, of just how much goes into a junior free dance, and so much concept behind it.
Well, the free dance score is 75 points. That is a season's best, but it is 4th in the free dance with a total competition score of 126.87, and that will put them currently into 2nd place overall. Of course, that mistake probably cost them a few points here or there, but they look pretty happy with their experience and with their performance, and much more to come from this team, as we see 3 Chinese teams in the top 5 so far, at least in the event.
Representing Italy.
Well, the next team coming from Italy, Vittoria Petracchi and Daniel Basile. This team added, I think, 6 points to the ISU personal best in the rhythm dance yesterday. They'll be hoping to do the same in their free dance. And the team will skate to the Tree of Life suite. Vittoria Petracchi and Daniel Basile from Italy. That concludes their Junior Grand Prix season 2024. They were 10th in Ankara in Turkey, coming into the free dance here in 8th place. And as I say, huge personal best in the rhythm dance. They'll be looking to see if they can improve upon the 79.59 that they have as an ISU personal best in their free dance. And I find it really interesting with this team to see the 4-year age gap, because I see strengths in them separately and individually. I think Vittoria is so wonderfully expressive, so I think her presentation is really strong. Daniel, I think, stronger with the skating skills perspective, and they're working together to create the whole.
You can see she wears the emotion in her shoulders. I don't mean just her shoulders, in her face, and which is a wonderful attribute to have as an ice dancer.
And here we see just a little less comfort as a standard in the clockwise rotation. So, a little bit of a check 3 turn in the second. That's the reason that one level has been dropped. As we look at the rotation lift with Daniel pushing the ice courage, trying to ensure he can do all he can in his role as the lifting partner to boost the grade of execution. And here, as we saw in warm-up, good quality ice coverage within the step sequence from barrier, long barrier to long barrier. And it's interesting when we think about visuals, Vittoria here in this straight line lift, I remember the passionate commitment she had to that right hand movement in that lift in Ankara. And that's what's, it's interesting, that's what's memorable. Again there, her right hand, she speaks with the energy in her body, as they are joined by Francesco Fioretti.
And that's a real ice dancer. Even though the skating skills and other skills have the, continued development, but to have that passionate performance and demonstrate that in their choreography, you need it, and she's got it. This is for sure. 79.05, that is second in the free dance, with a total competition score of 132.78, and that will put Vittoria and Danielle currently into second place at this stage of the competition. She looks like she would like a little bit more, and you gotta love that fire. I'm wanting more. What do we need to do? Let's go. 133 to 132. Look how close that is. What made the difference, right?
And now to the bronze medalist from the Winter Youth Olympic Games in Gangwon earlier this year, Ashley Satter and Atle Onge Perez. They competed in Ljubljana last week. They had challenges and a fall within the 1 foot, hoping for a clean skate as they skate to an African selection of music sung by the brilliant Lady Smith, Black Mambazo. And the emotion upon the face of Ashley Slatter, perhaps a combination of the difficult injury that I mentioned that they suffered through the off-season, and then coupled with the frustration of last week's fall in Ljubljana, Slovenia. So I'm sure overjoyed, relieved, elated to get through this performance cleanly in Wuxi in their second Junior Grand Prix of this season, as she and Atal Onge Perez leave the ice.
Quite often the emotion at the end of a performance tells a story that we haven't heard. You know, the run up to this and the challenges they have, and you find those stories out, but a lot of people don't know them, and you can understand why they have an emotion at the end of a performance.
And the African dance movement that we talked about last week, they've had African dance lessons to try to really embrace the concept of the theme, and there that looks quintessential. Not that I have had an education in African dance movement, but I can see that this looks akin to what I would assume is appropriate, and that will be reflected in the competition and the presentation this week. So much more confident in the curve lift. Last week they didn't want to let go of the hold because of mistakes that were made earlier in the program, so you can see a much higher grade of execution within the combo lift. And as is always the case with Philippa Tyler-Green's choreography, good use of connection within the hold. And there you can just see, whilst the performance is wonderful, you can just see on occasion the skaters, when they're doing the difficult turns within the context of the 1 foot or the step sequence, eyes just drop a little bit to ensure that they're trying to make sure the clean steps are performed. Just a little lack of synchronicity here within the tail end of the twizzle, so that'll be reflected in the grade of execution. This was really good. The choreographic spinning movement, their choice of choreographic element, and really dynamic, as was the finish. And they're joined here by a different member of their coaching staff, Candice Tyler-Green, and she an ISU championship tech spec as well.
4.76, that's the season's best. That puts them in first place in the free dance with a total competition score of 140.38 as Ashley and Nolta take over the lead. At this stage of the competition, they're thrilled. A nice way to finish the Junior Grand Prix season with the season's best. And they have the lead at this stage.
And now to the German ice dance couple, Lilia Schubert and Nikita Ramashevsky, a team here in China without a coach. First time they've been outside of Europe, but they've performed really maturely in the rhythm dance, and that maturity will continue as they skate to I Put a Spell on You by
I put a spell on you. Cause you're mine. You better stop the things you do. I ain't lying. No.
Commiserations to Lilia Schubert and Nikita Ramashevsky. Good to see them share the hug, because that rotational lift fall by 2 made me shudder, and the way in which they continued the performance, showcasing the maturity, testament to them. And I've acknowledged, Ted, that this experience in China for the team is a huge life event. The travel, the geography away from home, being coachless here, presumably because of the expense of traveling this far, then didn't want to be compounded with all of those novelties, all of those new experiences with a difficult free dance performance. But it could serve to just unite this team even more. They've only been together since 2023, and this will be exponentially bonding, I imagine, because they're now going to experience this together and the frustration of the mistake.
You never design it and you never wish for it, but you do need it. The mistakes and the problems and the challenges, and it pulls you together and it makes you stronger, but you never try to get it, but it will happen. Here's a look at the Twizzles, Mark.
And here, at this point in time, you can see the quality of the team and the mature senior look of this couple, just working through the second and third twizzle, coming in comfortably with good grade of execution and level 4. And here, a bracket turn in there, back inside counter, changing edge to a forward outside rocker, and then a back inside twizzle. There are 4 mandatory turns for the 1 foot turns sequence, choosing to do whatever edge of takeoff they want for the turns, but rocker, bracket, counter. Oh, I'm a bit scared to relive this, but this, the rotational lift, difficult, and she was fine.
Oh, just
and
on the
that's
1
a
foot.
1 foot feature, so that's a level feature that Nikita was going for, and just too far back in his blade, and consequently the mistake. But immediately back up into the choreographic step sequence that we see here. I suppose the one good thing about the mistake is that the passionate music that I put a spell on you was appropriate for any frustration they felt. This was choreographic sliding movement to close out the program.
Yeah, tough one, and also sitting in the kiss and cry by yourself. It's, it's unusual, but you know what? This experience is, they're gaining so much from this. They don't know what it is right now, but it'll be growth and maturity. 72.74, that is 8th in the free dance. With a total competition score of 128.85, that'll put them, for the moment, at least overall, into 4th place.
But a mature team that I think will make the transition to seniors really well. They're primed and ready. Today wasn't a good day, but
we're going to step aside as we get introduced to the final group here in the free dance, last day of competition on the ISU Junior Grand Prix.
Let's welcome our final group of skaters. Representing United States of America, Olivia Ilin and Dylan Kane. Representing Japan, Kishimoto Sara and Tamura Atsuhiko. Representing France, Anglo Perrier Gianissini and Samuel Laperman. Representing Canada, Chloe Nguyen and Regin Jiang. Representing United States of America, Eliana Peel and Ethan Peel. Skaters, your 5-minute warm-up begins now.
Welcome back. The final group on the ice in the free dance. Mark, we've had a couple questions come in.
yes, thank you to those that have sent in the questions. As we have the final warm-up in the dance event, the women's event to come, please do send in any questions that you may have. Some interesting discussion points for the singles event later, but interesting question now in this ice dance warm-up is how expensive is this sport for the skaters with regards to costumes, skates, and travel, etc. And
there's two ways we have to think about answering this. One is that, do we really want to scare people off? You know, or do you want to tell the truth? Well, I think, you know, lots of sports are now more expensive. Soccer, perhaps, not a pair of shorts and some cleats, but, you know, you've got skates are expensive. How much do they run generally, at least in your country, Mark? Skates and blades.
I think you would be looking at £1,000, maybe $1,000, or up to $1,500, I gather, depending upon obviously the brand and where they come from. One thing, I mean, that's expensive. The costumes, which have the skates require a certain level of quality and a certain level of boot is necessary. So the skaters, they're forced to that fee. The costumes can be simple. There's no prerequisite amount of expense spent on costumes, but they can be in excess of $2,000 per costume. The travel, of course, that's too expensive. The education from some of the best coaches in the world runs in excess of $100 per hour. The only thing, whilst I relay all these expenses, which are exorbitant, is that but what I will say, which is motivation for me as a parent of two young children who may go on to take part in expensive sport, is I just know, certainly when I was skating, I was funding my own skating, and I was living, you know, my whole life was devoted to saving money to pursue my competitive dreams. But I was very happy pursuing that dream. I've seen skating parents, I've met up with skating parents after their child has retired, who I've joked about, oh, well, now you can spend your money on yourself. And they'll acknowledge, yes, obviously it's nice that they don't have the exorbitant fees of the skating education, but they're quite vocal and saying, yeah, I might have been complaining then about the expense of my child's competitive pursuits, but in hindsight now, I realise how much joy it brought them as well. And so, you know, confirmation that money isn't everything, that the pursuit of a dream for these young people is invaluable.
I think the one thing that we would need to mention and tell people is that it's very difficult to know the value of an investment until later on in life. It could be a house, it could be a car, it could be something that you invest in and you think it's going to be good, but it may or may not. You're not really sure. You have to wait in time. So when you're investing in your children's future and their education and their experiences of life, so that when you're no longer around, they're strong, independent individuals, what will help them do that? Certainly support helps that, no question. Keeps them healthy physically, keeps them, you know, challenged psychologically and emotionally. So there are many good things. On certain days, it doesn't look good. It's costly. You got to pay a bill, or they're not happy, or whatever the case. But they're in pursuit of something that of excellence in a passion which they enjoy. So you've got to look long term. If you look short term, you're going to go, wow, this is really expensive. I don't want to do it. If you look long term to the welfare of your children, it could be a very good investment. So I think it's not the cheapest sport in the world. This is for sure. There are more expensive sports than this, but it's, you know, it's costly, and just got to be smart about how and when you spend and how much you spend, what you really need and what you don't need. But you don't know that as a parent. Where do you get that guidance from? Right? It's hard. Okay, next question, because let's get off that topic.
Yeah, did we? Well, a question coming in from Weeby Jam. Are you excited for the Junior Grand Prix final?
I really am, because, you know, but I love working with, you know, watching the skaters who come from really developing countries and may not have the skill level. That's a lot of fun as well. But when you get the top 6 skaters in the Grand Prix final, there is not, and we talk quite often about, oh, there's a range of difference between Group 1 and Group 2. Well, there is no range of difference here. They're all excellent when you get into the Grand Prix final, and so now it's a matter of one little, you know, moment out of order, and that could make the difference. So that's very exciting, and also the days are shorter. So, and I like working with you, Mark, when we're both on site. So I think that should be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. Here we go. Final group on the final day of coverage of the Junior Grand Prix. And we have one more event coming up, the Women's Free Program. Make sure you stay with us for that. But Let's focus now on the ice dance.
And this final group of 5 teams starts and ends with American ice dance couples. The first of which, the younger of the 2 American teams, Olivia Ellen and partner Dylan Kane. And as is the case with all the teams that we've seen in the event so far, a stark contrast in the energy from the rhythm dance to the free dance. This more intense for Olivia and Dylan as they skate to Carry You. Olivia Ellen and Dylan Kane. And we were treated, Ted, as seeing the performances of the ice dance teams event to event. So 7th place in Ankara, and now with a few more weeks of a run through and a few more weeks of time spent on the program, as Patrick Blackwell throws a stuffy on for them, there's more opportunity to see more speed in ice coverage. And I was really conscious that heading towards the choreographic spinning movement, the speed and the push was of great intensity as they pushed to achieve the highest skating skills that we've seen.
I don't know how they feel about themselves as a team, but what I do know is they're actually quite well matched. However, they will grow and they will change and they'll be different and they'll be better. And you have to have patience for that to grow together. And, everybody wants everything at once, and it doesn't come that way. Patience. But they look pretty happy at the end, and I thought it was really cool, Olivia giving Dylan a really nice hug, a real sincere feeling of, gratification at the end of that program, feeling good about the program.
And as we look through the one for turns wonderfully deep right forward inside edge, wow, that was really impressive. We're seeing this team, we're getting to, as spectators, grow up with the team and see them develop slightly out of sync in the opening of the twizzles here. And we can see them perhaps maturing in different ways at different times, but what they have got as a team is that, I keep referencing the foundation, but the time spent together, whilst, maybe on their life trajectory as young teenagers, they're, changing and experiencing different things and their perspective of the events may be different, they're banking more and more time together, which I think will pay off as seniors if they continue together as a partnership.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I was referring to. Time is so important. It's a bit risky because you don't really know, but people want instant success, and you never get that. You get, it's long term. That's what's important. Where are you on the last day of your career, not where are you in this early stages? And it's hard to be patient.
And I think when you see this performance in the free dance here from Olivia and Dylan, it's a mature, passionate, more contemporary piece, and it's hard as 15 and 16 to do that comparative to the likes of Eliana and Ethan, who will be the last skaters in the group, who are older, who have more maturity in delivering that.
Did a very nice job. I really do.
Exactly.
Let's take a look at the score here. The free dance score. Season best, 85.63. You can see Olivia going, okay, that's good. Happy to see a smile on her face. That's awesome. Total competition score, 142.21. That'll put Olivia and Dylan currently into first place. She blows a kiss in the heart, and I'm not sure what else that is, but it's all good stuff. There you go. Well done. Very nice.
And that'll be their highest Junior Grand Prix result, so kudos to everybody involved. And now to Sara Kishimoto and Atsuhiko Tamura, team in fourth place after the rhythm dance. How they would love to add another medal in the Junior Grand Prix to the bronze they achieved last year in Gdansk as they start their free dance to music from the Fast and the Furious. Sara Kishimoto and Atsuhiko Tamura, the Japanese ice dance team, who are just 15/100ths of a point behind the third place team after the rhythm dance. The eyeing closing in, as I said before the performance. That said, the rotational lift looked like a really good save by Atsuhiko, but I'm not sure there was sufficient. The save was good, but I don't think he'll have achieved a level 4, which would be an assumed safe level for that rotational lift for them in practice. Just a little tight towards the latter stages of the program.
And that might be the difference between podium and not. We'll have to wait and see till the next team of Giacchini and Klapperman skate. But
and actually, I wonder now, Ted, having just seen the polish of Olivia and Dylan, I'm not sure whether or not this will be enough to keep them ahead of that team based on this performance.
True. Yeah, we'll find out.
But what I love with this team is the novelty of choice. As we see the twizzles, which so embrace the Fast and the Furious idea they're going for there, just a little pirouette spin for Sarah. Just check, yeah, she will have dropped a level there. It's level 2 there, so tech score suffering here. The 1 foot back counter looked good there. Just looking at the angle of the ankles as they reach the point of the turn to see whether or not the panel will call it. Okay, so I think she was meant to do Beelman type feature, so I think she loses her feature there within the rotational lift. And
I agree with you. I like the fact that they picked this music because it's aggressive, it's assertive, they're pushing to the limit, and although that's riskier, they're going to grow and mature a little quicker with this because it's not like a real juniorish. It's a little bit in transition to seniorish type of approach. So, you know, good on them to risk that, push the limits.
And they know, as Pascal Denis joins them, that their coaching staff with Ice Academy in Montreal, they know what it needs to be done with a team like this. They're obviously both naturally, they appear to be naturally talented. They have good ankles, good knees, great range of flexibility, great performance ability, and so, you know, a coaching staff like that will know, okay, we know what to do with this team over the course of, you know, the next 2 Olympic cycles, so we're going to push them to do this slightly different free dance Fast and Furious this year.
Absolutely. Even if it's a bit risky now, it doesn't matter because you're talking long-term development. They needed this, you know, to experience, and it was great. It's good, but they had some technical mistakes, and the levels certainly not what they're capable of. 2 and 3 on the twizzles, and of course the lift as well. Let's take a look at the free dance score, 81.38. That is a season's best for Sarah and Tusiko. And total competition score of 139.97. That'll put them for the moment into 3rd place overall. So they did drop behind Olivia and Dylan.
Representing France.
And now to Ombre Perrier, Giannassini and Samuel Blanc-Klapperman. They were just off the podium in Ankara in their first Junior Grand Prix this season. 2 5th places last year. Now skating to Bonsoir and La Bohème.
Je vous parle d'un temps que les moins de 20 ans ne peuvent pas connaître. Mon enfant ce temps-là, accroché ces nuits-là jusque sous nos fenêtres, et si humble garni qui nous servait de nid ne payait pas de mine. C'est là qu'on s'est connu, moi qui criais famille et toi qui posais nu. La bohème, ça voulait dire on est heureux. La bohème, nous ne mangeons qu'un jour sur deux. Quand au hasard des jours, je m'en vais faire un tour à mon ancienne adresse. Dans son nouveau décor, mon art semble triste et les lilas sont morts. La bohème, ça ne veut plus rien dire du tout.
Well, Ted, previously in this competition, you'd asked me about what we might spot as the differences as the event progresses. Ambro Perrier, Giannassini and Samuel Blanc-Clapperman showcase just a different level of skating skill and refinement immediately from the offset, and their class will secure a significantly higher score than anything that we have seen thus far. This team, their use of the blade, their body control, pushing them, I would imagine, I'm going to check, into the sevens in the components. We've only seen skaters in the mid to low sixes thus far, just somewhat of a different league.
You know, and for me, you know, when you find a team that you don't see as two individual skaters, you just see as one couple, and that's what they did. I saw them as one couple in their performance, in their emotion, and in their relationship on the ice, and that was really strong. That completely took me to, oh, this team is the best that we've seen so far. And as we're seeing the points come in, we're correct. So we'll see where it ends up.
And it's interesting, Marianne de la Asuncion, the coach here, and when I was competing, the coaching in Lyon was the epicenter of ice dance, and then that's transferred from Lyon to Montreal, and it's good to see Marianne and alongside Muriel Zazuri, long-time French successful ice dance coach, creating a whole generation, rebuilding and creating just quality. They've just got quality and class, just the way in which they did the change of edge there within the 1 foot class.
And they taught Marie-France and Patrice. They trained in Lyon, so it's sort of expanded. It's a similar school or same school, right?
Yeah, and so it's the same ethos and understanding of what is quality. But what's great, I love to see success in various different skating nations, because then it just broadens the celebration of the sport, and just even the way that they use their arm movement, just, you know, and quality is not nationally prejudiced. If a skater, as Ambra and Samuel are moving now, if you point your toes so elegantly and if you express your body so beautifully, it doesn't matter where you come from, class is class. It's obviously been well trained in their body. They've been forced to hold their bodies in a manner like that forces consequently the judges to give them the sevens that we see coming up on the scoreboard.
You say, come on, get the heart going. She's disappointed. Come on, let's go. 96.13, season's best. That is first in the free dance. Fist pump there by Amber. With a total competition score of 154.87. Amber is thrilled. Samuel is thinking about it. So he's
Chilled.
still sitting there
He's
pretty
chilled,
chilled.
he's
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's huge. Will it be enough to overtake second? We'll see. Could they move up even further? We have two really good teams still to come, and the next comes from that country, the land of the maple leaf.
Yes, and Chloe Nguyen and Brendan Yang, if they've heard the score just posted by the French team, know that they now need to deliver a personal best. And Chloe and Brendan will skate some beautiful music. Sign of the Times by Harry Styles. So the difficulty for a finish position, when you finish on your knees, Ted, and you've just absolutely busted your every energy, you just don't want to get up. And Brendan Yang just was quite happy there, taking a sweet time to get back up to take his bow, understandably, after that effort.
A lot of emotion at the end of the program internally amongst each other, and they do take time to sort of look at each other, speak something, to hug each other or whatever. It's a little bit of who they are. And you know, Brendan is kind of, you don't maybe see it in the performance as much as he has it in him. He's an emotional guy. He cares about a lot of things, and he cares about his partner very much. And
that's good.
Hopefully the score, we'll have to take a look at what the score is. They have an 89.87. They'll need to beat that to have a chance to stay in second place. Competition is tight. I love that arm movement there right at the opening.
And just fascinating analysis of the difference between this and the French team who went before. Great to see the choice of different movement within the 1 foot turns. The first turn has to happen at the same time, but then after that they can deviate a little bit, and I like the choice of the choreography there. Here, good speed and good ice coverage through the synchronized twizzles, and difficult transition between the first and the second, and good unison also. I find it really interesting to just assess the different techniques. This constant movement in the straight line lift, impressively done. As we were talking about off air, as we see this choreo character step, they perhaps were as fast as the French team, but it comes from a difference in technique. So they are perhaps a little bit more aggressive in their creation of speed, more steps taken rather than the longer steps taken by the French team. I think the skating skills of the French team are a little bit stronger, but this certainly should be a personal best for a team that were 6th at Junior Worlds.
They're wanting to beat that 89.87, and they do with a 90.42, but that is second in the free dance. But by how much? Total competition score of 150.97, and they are second. Wow. That'll drop them on into third. I didn't think Aaron anticipated, or he saw that coming by quite a bit, 154 to 150. Look at the bronze medal.
Rio Nakata, the winner of the men's event, is joining the American team to support the final competitors in the free dance competition. Eliana and Ethan Peel, comfortable leaders after the rhythm dance. If anything, wanting to extend that lead for a win here as they skate to music from the Pearl Harbor soundtrack. Lord of the Dance last year, Pearl Harbor this year for Eliana Peel and Ethan Peel. And they have explained just how much they love storytelling, and that's something that was so evident in their portrayal throughout the performance.
How Eliana just held that last pose and did not budge. Didn't want to give that emotional moment both for the audience and the choreography and herself. She didn't want to give that away, and that was, you can see her complete sincerity into her love and passion and connection with the music.
And I think it was Avatar 2 years ago, Lord of the Dance last year. This, again, different stylization, but irrespective of what it is, different again to the rhythm dances, but such immersion in concept. And it was interesting, they were saying to me, Ted, that obviously the whole family is invested behind their success, but Ethan explaining that they still make time at the beginning of the day to just catch up and have fun and have a little chat, a little gossip around the rink. And I love to hear that they're still enjoying this process despite the pressure now as they vie to take a title in the Junior Grand Prix. See, Ethan, his right foot was precarious within the twizzles there.
And say if you don't enjoy the process, it's going to be a difficult process. So, and they do enjoy it because they share it with the most precious people in their lives, and that's their family.
And they're really fun to watch online. They've been sharing some little vlogs of their time and experience in China, and just we also get to see the siblings supporting the other members of the team. What great teammates they would be to have at an event. If I was competing at an event and I was on the team along with these guys, I'd be delighted to know that you've got that kind of positive energy and support as we see that rond de jambe on the back outside edge, part of the 1 foot, showcasing that they're going beyond just the 4 difficult turns necessary, but playing with the stylization within it as we see the choreographic lift. Just
here, she just stays right there. Oh, okay, we lost it, but really committed all the way through. And now her personality shines in the Kiss and Cry as they wait for their scores. Will this be their first title? 95.19. That's actually second in the free dance. Funny, wow. That's a season best, though. With the total competition score 160.50, they take the title. That was the number they were looking for. That number 1 under rank. That was it. She was a little nervous. They both were a little bit nervous seeing that second after the free dance. And they make the Junior Grand Prix final. They needed that win. They got it. Close.
Yeah.
But the French team came ever so close as well to a big upset. And that's going to be fun to interview them.
Yes. Congrats from me.
Look at how emotional she is. Going to have to ask about that. That's cool. Okay, well, we better move on here. That concludes our coverage as we take a look at the final standings. Eliana and Ethan and Amber and Samuel, Chloe and Brendan drops from second to third, unfortunately. There's your top 3. And a look at the rest of the field. Our next event, our final event, is the women's free program, and that'll be coming up pretty soon as we close out the coverage of the free dance here. For all of us here at the ISU, I'm Ted Barton, along with Mark Hanratty. Thank you for watching. We hope you'll stay with us for the final event on the 2024 ISU Junior Grand Prix Series. We'll be back.